Alright, one last little few bits of information that I kind of want to pass on before I just put away for the day, maybe get drunk, get stoned or something. But anyway, let's get to business now, shall we? So, the last video, a couple of videos, I went over Tesla's affliction, particle weapon, and nanotechnology, the spirit, and the like. Now, I'm going to start talking about what Tesla was been able to see with his third eye. Not within his mind lab, but within the air around you. Or in general. So, this can also be tied into the particle wave theory. I believe that's what it's called. It's basically the theory that states that a particle can exist as both a particle and a wavelength both at the same time. With my third eye being thoroughly developed, just like Tesla, I'm able to see groupings of particles in the air, and if I was to focus on them, like I'll see little sine waves, just barely, as they're going by. And sometimes if I just lean back a little bit and I start following like streams of of the same type of sine wave, but just a different frequency, I've noticed that there's like thick streams about maybe this thick in the air, some this thick, some not even, some paper thin. But what you can see is within these big streams, it's basically a bunch of coagulated electromagnetic particles of the ambient environment just passing along, and they're just meandering through the air as if just acting upon their own accord. And one thing that I also noticed too, and this is a bit of a theory that I kind of thought of myself, is that sine waves in nature, they exist multidimensionally, because as they're moving, like when you see it on a bit of a graph or telegraph or seismograph, even for example, it's only two directions, up and down, and it's just in two dimensions. That doesn't really do it much any justice, because instead I've seen it so that it's not just like this when you look at it from the side, but from like, let's say you're looking at it diagonally, it moves as if it's like a rotation, kind of like so. Like we see the frequency and the amplitude and such, but we don't see the thickness of it. And one thing that I've also noticed too is that every now and then I'll see a multidimensional sine wave moving across the air with a cosine wave going with it. And the best way to describe this is that a three-dimensional sine wave would be more akin to like a spring that's just moving along as such. Now, when you toss in the cosine wave into it, it looks like a double helix rotating through the air. That's also like some electromagnetic wavelengths as well present within the environment. That's what Tesla was able to see, and I'm able to see that too. How do you think he's able to come up with all these wondrous ideas about electricity? He fucking saw it, and I can see it too. And when it was like about a month and a half ago when it started getting really developed, and I was just thinking, holy shit, this is tight. And the best way to see it is when you have the lights off and you just see the faint luminescent bluish glow of these electromagnetic particles. And since I can see them, it makes it easier to see in the dark. Like it can usually happen like that, so I can adapt, my eyes can adapt, or my third eye kind of like communicates with my eyes to where it's like, yeah, I got you, you're Gucci. But anyway, that's just my take on the particle wave theory. But now I'm going to go about how I can pass on the information and the techniques of such to train your third eye and your mind well enough to where you yourself can produce your own mind lab or mind studio, mind study, or whichever whatever type of thing you want to produce. In general, it's just a little space, or think of it as like another dimension, like an alternate dimension that you create within your own reality, but it's within only accessed through your spirit, conscious, and mind. So, the biggest thing that I've done to train my third eye is basically practicing remote viewing, visualization, and just trying to open your third eye through meditation, yoga, and the like. The one factor that is going to play a hugely prominent role in helping you see the way that I can see and the way that Tesla can see, the Kundalini. Since the Kundalini has been mentioned as the quantum control switch of the human spirit, you take in energy from the Kundalini, and it's not only the divine feminine and an unlimited supply of energy that you can just call upon. In order to call upon that, though, first you gotta actually feel the Kundalini within the base of your spine, because it rests beneath the root chakra. It's a coiled serpent, and I remember one time that I saw my Kundalini awaken. I was sitting in meditation one time, and I was at a buddy's house, and I was just sitting there, and then all of a sudden I saw my body form as I was just sitting there meditating. All of a sudden I saw the serpent go up all my chakras, hit my third eye, and then a whir of energy that I've never felt before at the time just swelled throughout my body and my spirit. I'm just like, holy shit, this is crazy. And one thing that I've learned too is that cannabis, weed, pot, blah blah blah, ganja, gotta smoke that ganja. But anyway, so when it comes to weed, it raises your vibration and it enlarges your chakras. And if you energy breathe, you will be able to feel the Kundalini energy rising up your spine. Though energy blockages will impede your progress and will get in the way and such, but overcome that, treat your spirit, and nurture yourself. Once you've nurtured yourself and you've attained the Kundalini, it makes third eye visualization a hell of a lot easier, because I can slowly, like, the room starts to form with my eyes closed right now, and mind you, like, it's easier to train with barely your less dominant eye open, just barely, and then your dominant eye completely closed, because your dominant eye is going to be your visualization eye. And basically you breathe in through pranayama, take in the energy from the environment, and you can see all the objects of the room form within your mind. And Tesla wants me to pass on this information because us prospecting engineers, if we can learn and utilize this technique, we can come up with inventions that we never thought would be possible. Alright, so now I'm gonna start going into the technique. So when you haven't awakened your third eye yet, or opened it even, it takes a couple weeks to maybe a month's worth of meditation, and don't try to push yourself, because trying to force it to happen will not work. So just practice on basic visualization and the like, and then once you get good at visualization, start working on visualizing the room around you, remote viewing, or many other different types of third eye exercises that you can utilize by just seeing through your third eye. And also, the third eye is needed in order to see what contents the crown can see when it's connected to the universe. And then once you're able to see what the crown can take in from the astral chakras that lie above your body, there's all kinds of possibilities out there for you. Traversing through dimensions that you never thought would be possible, the well of dreams. I've been to the source a couple times, and it's surreal. That's all I can tell you, is it is surreal as hell. And Tesla even is telling me right now even that this third eye visualization, mind lab, and the like is one of his was one of his big keys to his success, or at least to the success that he was able to attain. That is, and once, since my visualization is trained well enough, I can form holograms. Like I can take, let's say, a phone, and I'll form a phone right there, and I'll just kind of like split it off and just make some minor altercations, and if I see something to my liking, put it into my third eye and then transfer it to the mind lab for further study. And I've been able to do that with quite a few different things, like the Iron Man suit, the hovercrafts from the Matrix, or the ships, or whatever you want to call them. I've been able to look at androids and be able to come up with a few different varieties of androids to make, just basing it off of battle droids from Star Wars, and also the T-100 and the T-600s and all of them from Terminator. And even like those little flying drones that are in the Terminator video game, Terminator Salvation arcade game more specifically, I can basically create an alternating current motor where it would basically be two chopper blades, and the drone itself would be like this big and this wide, and just be two big motors, all of which you all know how a double motor on a helicopter would work, and making it light enough to where it's just one instead of multiple different types of chopper blades and whatnot. Anyway, but the point is, I can form holograms as if I was Tony Stark inside of his house, just like taking apart anything holographically, sliding it to the side, and just doing all kinds of shit. Like, oh, and another thing too is like, to help with trying to get Kundalini energy to rise, I think it's the